recognize that sound. That is the sound of a dominant seventh. So you don't really need to know what it is, but I'm going to show you how you can play it and everything you need to know on a guitar. So firstly, what is it? It's a chord. Let's play it. If you pick up a guitar, this is going to be much more helpful for you, I think. So you play along with me, and hopefully you won't need to pause. We'll see. So first I'm just going to show you a voicing for this dominant seventh for you to use when you need. This will be your go-to, I think. So let's start on a C sharp, just to test your fretboard knowledge a bit. It's going to be 4th fret on the A string. That's our C sharp. Then we're going to use our ring finger to hit the perfect 5th. You'll know what that is if you've seen the others. It is basically, it's just going to complement our root note, and it'll be the same pretty much whatever chord we're playing. So these two, now we've got to make it into a dominant seventh. So if you remember the major seventh, it had these two notes here and here, and then the minor seventh, it shifted them both down 1 fret. So what the dominant 7 does is it kind of finds a middle ground between the two, because one of these two notes is the same as if it were a major 7th, but the other note is the same as if it were a minor 7th. So we play the 1 and the 5, then we're going to play the next note as if it were a minor 7th. So that's our minor 7 sound. But then we're going to play a major 3rd. So that's if we were playing a major 7th, the 9th, the 7th from the minor 7th, the 3rd from a major chord, makes a major chord with a minor 7th added on, which is a dominant 7th. You don't really have to wrap your head around it. This is how you play it. Just that bar, your finger across to get this note. It might be a bit tricky at first, and then have your pinky in line with your ring finger, but on the 2nd string. So that's our one voicing. The next voicing, of course, is going to start on the low E. So we've got one starting on the A and one starting on the low E. Quick, where's C sharp on the low E string? Find it. I'm at the 9th fret between C and D, and I'm playing a major 7th for some reason. So actually quite useful. We have our major 7th here, and in order to get a dominant 7th, we're going to find the 7th and we're going to flatten it. So this root, that's the root, so that needs to stay the same. This is our 7th, so we want to flatten this. But that's just really weird to play. So what we're going to do is take our first finger, bar it across the 2nd, 3rd and 4th string. You can bar across the 1st string as well. That's going to be like our minor 7th. But now you want to take your middle finger and place it on the 3rd string 1 fret higher. And that's still a dominant 7th. If you want to have a more full sound, then loop your thumb over and catch this C sharp. And of course mute the A string, because we don't want to hear that. If we did, nah. So those are your two main voicings. Of course, if your fingers are over here when you're playing, jump here. If your fingers are over there, take this one. So those will be your primary voices, and you want to practice those and get your muscle memory really in tune to them. Now that you know those, I'm going to show you some other voices, and ideally you want to come back to this video once a week and just recap, because they will fly out of your mind. But once you can get them, they'll be pretty useful, I think. So we've got this one, of course, and these other ones I'll show you. So the first one is going to be 2 frets higher. Again, we're barring this finger across the top 4 strings. This is on the 6th fret, and middle finger 1 fret higher on the high E string. I hope you can see this over the table. Our next one, if you think of it, this here is our minor 7th note, and if we slide it up 2 frets, that's going to be our root, that's going to be our C sharp. Is it a C sharp? It is a C sharp. So here, if you remember this voicing, we just need to take our thumb off, and that's it. Next one's 2 frets higher. Where's the 7th? I'll tell you. This here is the 7th. 2 frets higher, that's another C sharp. So this one, you might recognize this is actually would be a major 7th voicing if it were a string lower. So that's a major 7th, A flat major 7th, but pop it up a string, we got C sharp 7, C sharp dominant 7th. So something that's nice we can do here is that these 3 fingers, so if we take this one off, these 3, we can slide them up 3 frets. So that's 0, 1, 2, 3, and then now we just have to modify it a bit to turn into a C7. So our middle finger is currently on the 15th, 12th, 13th, 15th fret on the B string. We want to take that off, keep it on 15th fret, but put it on the D string. Now with our first finger, ready and waiting, we're going to put that on the B string, but instead of 15th fret, this is going on the 14th fret. So it's just 1 back. And then these 2 fingers are where we left them. And this is our next voicing. So if we slide it back down, and I recommend practicing that to get it. And keep going if you want. Anyway, it's going to take a while to understand these, but these are probably all the voicings you'll ever need for dominant 7th. So just so that you're aware what the dominant 7th is going to look like, often musicians will just write it as 7. So C sharp dominant 7th, it will just be C sharp 7 or C sharp to the power of 7. And that's really the only way I think it's written. It's much less ways of writing it. 7. So after that, there's one more thing. So we know that this is, of course, our main voicing, but there's a slightly different way of doing this. And if we keep playing this C sharp, but we're actually going to play it with our middle finger, then we can take our pointer finger and put it 1 fret towards the neck, but a string higher. So that's going on, it's an F, that's going 3rd fret on the 4th string. And then with this ring finger, we're going to put that in line, so 4th fret on the next string. So what this is doing is it is taking out the perfect 5th. So it's still a dominant 7th, but it doesn't have that 5th to fatten it up a bit. Now what we can do with this voicing is, because we're not playing that 5th, which is kind of useless, then we can play another note. So probably the most difficult one that you don't want to do is if you stretch your pinky to the 6th fret. So this 5th fret, there's nothing on the 5th fret. This string finger's on the 4th, this is on the 6th. And what this is doing is not much, it's just playing the octave of this note here, of this third. But if you move your pinky down to 5th fret, this is what we call a Hendrix chord. And it's good to remember because it sounds nice. That's the one reason. If you go like... yeah, that's the Hendrix chord. And then finally, if you move it down another fret, less Jimi Hendrix, more James Brown. So this, we'll call it a 9. So it'll be written as a 9, like a C-sharp 9. Actually, when I was talking about what it looks like with just a 7, if it is like C-sharp 9, C-sharp 11, C-sharp 13, that is just going to be a C-sharp 7 with a bunch of extra notes. So you can, if it says F13, you just play an F7. C-sharp 13, play C-sharp 7. I say one more thing, there's actually another thing. So we've got this, and you'll feel there's quite a bit of tension. And something lovely in music is that wherever you have a dominant 7th, it always wants to resolve here. And what this is resolving to is, of course, that's a major chord. It's an F sharp major. So if you remember our perfect 5th, if we look at F sharp major, this is the root on the E string, and we've got a perfect 5th here, making a power chord, which we can develop into a major chord. If we take this perfect 5th and treat that as a root for our 7 chord, so this perfect 5th, it's a C sharp. So if we build the C7 off of it, that's how it's going to work, and whatever key you're in. So if I want to go to this A major over here, A major, I'll take the 5th, and that's just going to work anyway. Of course you want to use it properly, but there is no properly in music. So that's it really. Again, there's a bunch of stuff here. It is not the most structured, but I think if I can just get information from me to you, it'll give you what you need to go and discover things about guitar, which is quite amazing, and I think you can be an incredible guitarist if you watch my videos. But if you do enjoy this, please subscribe. I want to try get as dedicated to this as I can, even though I am at school. I don't quite know how that works, but press subscribe anyway. I've got more videos if you want to expand your knowledge on guitar, and I'm not going to waste your time. Goodbye.